So thanks everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Tech Talk series. Today's topic is going to be Industry 4, and our title is "What is Industry 4.0 really?" Right? So we all hear about Industry 4.0, and there's a lot of conceptions out there that it's robots everywhere, and it's connect. But it's not only that, right? We have some robotics, but this is not sci-fi Terminator at this point. Industry 4 really is that step that we took from connecting automated machines, from driving those machines with automation or driving those manufacturing machines with automation to connecting and connecting securely, connecting to the operations so you can make better decisions. Now, this is going to have a tremendous impact going forward beyond Industry 4 because as we get into the concept of AI, I need to train models. If I train models with, if I believe that I don't have all the access to the data that I need, and I decide that I'm going to train models using synthetic data, unfortunately, that means that my answers are risking to be synthetic. So I firmly believe that we have enough data to train the models for the industry. I do believe that based on some of the history of not connecting and air gapping networks, that we have these dark pools of data that we need to get access to. And the way to do that is to securely connect the environment. Keep in mind that, at least this is my viewpoint, that the whole notion of an air gap network is a false sense of security. Something will get attached to an air gap just because it's not connected. Somebody will use a USB drive. Somebody will need to get a vendor in. They'll drop an internet connection in, VPN in. Somebody will accidentally bridge the network. It's a matter of time before something like that happens. So what I would rather see happen is it's time to connect all those assets in a secure fashion so we can have total visibility of really what's going on instead of having that view of the black box, right? And I think we've done that for a long period of time in the industry where we have this black box of manufacturing or other industrial environments, and we don't know what it is. We're a bit afraid of it, right? But we're going to try to protect it, and we do that by doing all the perimeter protection that we can. So if it's a castle analogy, walls, razor wires, are going to dig a moat, throw some alligators in it, and hope. But hope is not a real strategy, right? So it's time to take the shroud off of that box, and we still have to keep perimeter protection. But as we all know, perimeter protection, somebody will scale it eventually. So security becomes a thing of how I respond. So when we think about Industry 4.0, and I talk to people about it, I think they picture this futuristic factory full of robots and screens and an automated. Well, there's a lot of that that goes on. It's not what Industry 4.0 focuses on. That's a pretty catchy image, pretty forward thinking, but that's really beyond Industry 4.0. And 4.0 is going to enable that to happen, and that is coming. But the overall image that we set with Industry 4, if we set that right now, it kind of misses the overall point. So Industry 4 is not about making a factory look futuristic necessarily. It's about making operations more connected in a secure manner so we can scale those decisions better. That is the overall real principle for Industry 4.0. If earlier phases of introduction and automation were about making machines run automatically, like I said with Industry 3, Industry 4 is about making that operation more connected, more visible, more informed. Now, it is the shift from isolated systems to connected operations. This means, as I said before, that data no longer stays trapped in these dark data pools in one side, in a particular machine or on a line or on a site. We're going to get access to that data so we can move across the operation and help teams respond faster, deliver numbers on performance, spot issues earlier like predictive maintenance, and make overall smarter decisions. That whole definition is what Industry 4 is in practical terms. It's not necessarily robots everywhere and total sci-fi plant floor, but it's about better connecting, making better decisions, and getting those devices on the network so I can have access to all my data so I can advance into things like AI as we go forward. Think about the difference between that disconnected line and a connected one. In a disconnected environment, the line slows down and people start guessing. What happened? Is it a configuration issue? Did a motor die? Is it a sensor issue? And is a maintenance problem? Did somebody do something? In a connected environment, All that data from the line is totally visible across the operation. So operators can see what changed. They can see maintenance can look at trending information to see what's possibly failed or starting to fail. Leadership can compare it to other lines or shifts to say, this assembly line or this shift is actually trending down. What's going on? It's the exact same operation, but we have better visibility, better awareness, and better response capabilities because we're connected. That is why Industry 4.0 is not a product or one thing. It's not a dashboard. It's not a software package. And it does not require necessarily ripping out everything you already have. In most environments, our devices are already there, right? Whether they're connected or not is another conversation. But PLCs and HMIs, drives, robots, sensors, all those legacy assets. Building the ability to move that data and understand that data is about connecting those assets, connecting them in the way that I can protect them and use the data to improve or generate business outcomes. That is the solid foundation that catapults us into the next evolution, if you will, of the industry. Now, I work for Cisco, and this is where Cisco has a clear, strong fit in these environments. So Industry 4.0 depends on reliable connectivity, visibility, industrial assets, secure access to operations. If we look at that industrial networking and OT visibility story, that whole story supports that outcome. From getting visibility from the network, which is your largest sensor, taking that data and start looking at it, what are my vulnerabilities? What are my normal behavior patterns? What current state is my environment in when I am receiving these alerts? Taking that to the next level at that point from that collection and informing the enforcement side of the business. So the enforcement side of the network to say, based on my characteristics and vulnerabilities, I'm going to apply policy to do dynamic segmentation based on my visibility. That's an important term when we start talking about dynamic segmentation. And in a future section, we'll get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how that works. But we need to think about dynamic segmentation. When something comes online in the middle of the night, we want that to be as automated as possible. We want to be able to see it, apply policy to it, and segment it accordingly. So if you remember one thing from this episode, think about the Industry 4.0 is not about sci-fi factories, right? It's about connected operations in a secure way so you can make better decisions. So thanks for joining me today. Remember our tagline: see it, secure it, segment it, and scale it. Join us soon. We're going to go into episode number 7. And the real conversation there is why uptime is a real KPI in the industrial space. So thanks so much for joining. Have a great day.